Hello everyone. Today our topic will be on mental health, and for that I have called Iris, who is training in clinical psychology, so she can enlighten us a little bit about mental health, demystify it, and we can understand and know how to intervene. So I'll just be calling her. Thank you everyone for joining us. I'm just waiting for Iris to join me. Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Can
Please
you
speak
hear
a
me?
bit louder so that we
Okay.
can all.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
please tell us about, your educational journey and why you decided to take up the clinical psychology.
Okay. So, firstly, hello everyone. Thank you for joining in. And I'm Iris. I pursued my undergrad studies from IP College for Women, and I did my master's in psychosocial clinical studies from Ambedkar University, Delhi. And right now, I'm doing my MPhil in clinical psychology at RIMS in Imphal. So I was actually introduced to psychology by, can you hear me?
Yeah, please speak a bit louder. I
Am
can
I
hear you, but
audible?
please speak a bit. Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So I'm actually introduced to psychology by a friend of my brother's, and I was fascinated by the area of study because it deals with the mind and human behavior. So, which is like, it is also greatly influenced by culture, social, and political and historical forces. So, I was actually very intrigued. Then, when I continued studying, I was more inclined towards clinical psychology. That's why I took up psychosocial clinical studies. And when I studied at Ambedkar University, I was taught like how to inculcate clinical thinking, not only clinical thinking, but and also how the human psyche is very rich, and emotional experiences can also be different for everyone. So that's how my journey started with psychology.
Yeah, that's great. I've always been confused
Yeah.
about, the difference between psychiatry, and psychology. So can you just explain it to all of us in a simple way so that, we can demystify it? And please speak a bit louder.
Okay, I'm trying to speak loudly. I don't know what happened. Okay, so a psychiatrist is someone who has a MD in psychiatry, MD in psychiatry, and he or she is specialized in treating mental disorders by giving pharmacotherapy. And the only difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist is that a clinical psychologist is someone who is specialized in giving psychotherapy. Both of them can diagnose mental disorders and mental illness problems, but the only difference is one provides pharmacotherapy and one provides psychotherapy. Both are educated, like even a psychiatrist is trained in psychotherapy techniques and all, but and a psychologist is also trained in pharmacotherapy, but only the psychiatrists are licensed to give pharmacotherapy, and psychologists give psychotherapies. So yeah, that's the
Why
difference.
do you think mental health, has been such a taboo for so long, and it is often misunderstood?
Mental,
So,
yeah, it has always been.
how do we?
Yeah.
Hello,
Hello. Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
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 So there's a lack of
Mm.
awareness about it. So, what are the
Yeah.
signs which we should look out for, in terms of mental health,
Yeah.
if, if in ourselves and in others as well. So what are the signs we can look out for if there is, any kind of mental health problems?
Yeah. So firstly, let me talk about the stigmatization of mental illnesses.
Yeah.
It has stigmatization of mental illness is very pervasive because it leads to discrimination in housing, employment, and social interaction. and all those things, and it can be very incapacitating for a person who is suffering with mental illness. It is also actually perpetuated by mainstream media, like how people with mental illnesses have always been depicted as violent or vulnerable or unpredictable or volatile. We see even in popular films like Hitchcock's Psycho, how people with mental illnesses are depicted as violent murderers, etc. Also in Sutter Island, etc. So, this popular media has always been, perpetuated this thing that negative stereotypical attitude. So it has also influenced in the emotional response of people around, how they treat people with mental illnesses. So we should try to understand them, sympathize with them, like not only sympathize, empathize actually, because they are a subject, they have their own individuality. It's just that they are suffering from an illness which is very much like similar to suffering from a physical illnesses. Like, I mean, the causes may be different, and the prognosis is different, but it is the same as suffering from physical illness, because a healthy individual is defined as by the World Health Organization as someone who has physical, mental, and social well-being. So yeah. And
Yeah.
signs to look out for is different for like various mental illness. For depression, for example, like depression, someone suffering from depression, we can look out for how their moods are low, like depressed mood and low energy, loss of interest in pleasurable activities. Like, if this lasts for, if this persists for more than 2 weeks, then it becomes, you have to check up on them. It becomes your responsibility to see changes in behavior of people around you, like how they start isolating themselves, or say things about committing suicide, or feels that life is not worth living or hopeless, etc. And like for anxiety, even people, they might feel anxious or stressed out without any stressor at the moment. It can be triggered like triggered by anything without any external cause or something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, we can always look out for signs like this.
Mental health has become a very, used word in everyone's vocabulary during COVID-19. And, do you think that this COVID-19 and this lockdown unable to socialize, as we used to, do you think it has affected people in general and, affected people's mental health? And I saw a lot of initiatives taken up by, so many psychologists in Manipur, the Collective Trust, Walker, Huxley. So,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
do you think that this has brought about greater awareness, and do you think the landscape of, mental health is changing?
Yes, yes. COVID-19 has had a great impact on mental health of general population actually, and like this thing has actually put the stream of mental health in focus in our state actually. So when COVID-19 started, everyone was panic and anxious, because it was unpredictable. Nobody knew like what the treatment could be, how whom to approach, and like when they had anxiety or depression, where to consult with. And so when people started panicking, and people had issues, and they didn't have any idea to contact to a consultant, we came up with this a group of psychologists, like many experienced and trained psychologists came up with the plan to form a group of team of psychologists who can provide tele-counseling to people around and give psychosocial support to them. So yeah, we came up with we provided our numbers in Facebook, and circulated among ourselves, and then the National Health Health Mission, Manipur State Health Mission came in, and they asked for volunteers from psychologists, and that is how, we have been continuing with telecounseling. And yeah, there has been like so many visibility in social media also, like with the Collective Trust, and the Psych World, and even Wakal Haksel, so yeah, people have been inquiring through DMs, and they have been provided for psychological first aid and psychosocial support to go to
Yeah.
psychiatrists or psychologists if they need more treatment.
Yeah. So, do you think mental health professionals are easily accessible? Are they affordable to normal people? And we also see a problem, a lot of, people who are not trained, who are saying that can help. But do you think that this might be harmful when people are not trained, but they are also offering services? Do you think that might also become a
Yeah.
problem?
Yeah, that is actually a very huge problem, like there is a lack of human resource in mental health care system. That is true. Like there are lesser number of psychiatrists, psychologists, clinical psychologists, but when it comes to therapy and all, if people perceive it as just talk therapy, but it is not. It is a systematic treatment plan, and clinical psychologists have been trained and specialized for 2 years to give this therapy. So when somebody who is not qualified enough just comes in and offers to give help by just talking, it may actually be detrimental to the person who is suffering from the mental illness, because it is not systematically proven talk that they are doing. It is, we provide scientifically and systematically proven evidence-based therapies. So yeah, that is
Yeah, that's really, I think, important to realize that not everyone can, no matter
yeah. So
how
like when you
kind and generous people are, I don't think, we
yeah
can accept just everyone to help us. I mean,
yeah
there's certain people who have
yeah
been trained in
yeah
a certain way. I also wanted to ask about how, this constant celebration of instant success, and viral worthy news, picture perfect
yeah
social media profiles, which, people put up. So do you think that that has created an impression that everyone is happier, smarter, more beautiful, having more fun than us? Do you think this has created a dissonance for, younger people, that and lead to low self-worth, that other people are having much more fun than us, they are living a perfect world, and how do we address this for younger generation?
yeah yeah yeah, it may be extremely confusing for the younger generation, because they see all these people glammed up and living a perfect life, but they fail to realize that what goes behind the screen is different from what is actually being portrayed in the social media. People only focus on portraying their happiness and their perfect life in social media, but we also, the adolescents, need to realize that everyone has their own trauma and stress. It may be different for everyone, because we have our own subjectivity, but like that is only a part of their life, that is not their whole life, that is reflected in social media. That that is very I don't know what to say, very the adolescents may be very extremely negatively affected if they have just
Yes.
low esteem or low self-esteem already. Like they might think, oh, these people are perfect, they have a perfect life, but it's very different from what goes behind the screen.
Yeah, definitely. I think we should all realize that we just
Yeah
choose certain parts of our life to put up, and it's not everything, and everyone
yeah
has their own struggles,
yeah
and they face
yeah
unhappiness and sadness just like everyone else. Also,
yeah
I wanted to ask, in places like India and in Manipur, where people live very repressive lives, such as,
yeah
sometimes we can't choose our career, we can't choose our family, we can't choose our friends. Sometimes people are forced to get married to someone, they don't love,
yeah
or sometimes people cannot come out openly as homosexual. So this kind of repressivity, do you think this is also, lead to mental health problems, and especially in very repressive societies like Manipur, where people are not able to come out openly with their identities.
Yeah. Actually, because we are we live in a very repressed society, and we need a thing, like we need a place to source out this repressed emotions of ourselves. So that is how, like many conversion, where conversion disorder, what we call in mental health, in psychology, conversion disorder comes up, like how mai bi tongba, how people say mai bi tongba and all na, all those things come up because these people are all repressed. They are not allowed to express their feelings and emotions because sometimes they feel that they will be judged and looked down or prejudiced against. So they have all these repressed feelings, and sometimes it emerges as another personality in themselves, like, so conversion disorders come out like this. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting and something I think we need to address together as a society.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask how, kids, school kids find themselves struggling for marks. There's so much pressure on them to perform, not just on how smart they are, but also on, how many marks they get. So, do you think that
Yeah.
school kids as a whole, do they require counseling? And do you think teachers and parents also require counseling in this matter? Because they are the ones who are also putting pressure on kids unnecessarily.
Yeah, yeah. Counseling, I think school counseling is very much necessary. In our state, the importance of counselors have not been realized properly. There are kids like with different abilities to, like how there was a problem recently with someone tweeting about ADHD, an ADHD child needing special treatment and all. So like how counselors can help them is how they can develop behavioral techniques for these kids, and also like help the teachers to actually employ them, and include the special needs children also, right? There has always been talk about inclusive studies also, like with intellectual disability kids. And also, again, coming to the marks, there has always been pressure, in Manipur about we should score good marks in our metric and our 12th exam, and how we should pursue science stream, the focus mainly
Yeah.
on science stream, and taking up medical and engineering as our course of study. But what we should realize is that different kids have different aptitudes and skills. Somebody may be good in verbal language, and then somebody may be good in numerical learning, and then somebody may be good in special abilities, or someone may be very good in logical and rational thinking. So all these aptitudes and skills are different for everyone, since everyone is different. So like what we need to realize is different kids have different aptitudes, and a counselor can help you identify the aptitudes of these kids, and they can actually guide them to take up studies and courses which are which can help, which can be helped with their technique, with their skills, the aptitudes that they have. So yeah, but in Manipur it's very different. Everyone follows the herd mentality, takes up science in 11 and 12, and then everyone is pressurized to take up for medical coaching, entrance examinations for medical and all. It is actually very stressful and uh, traumatic for the children, because sometimes they may feel that they might not live up to their parents' expectation, and they are very they are not good enough, or things like that. But in this area, even parents need to be counseled, because they need to understand that not every kid is similar. Even their own kids, like among the siblings, they have different skills and abilities. Like in my siblings, my brother is more interested in music, so he's a drummer. He does sound designing, and my younger brother is more interested in engineering, so he does engineering. So like that's freedom should be given to children to choose their option of study. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I feel.
definitely. That's really important, I think, in enabling a much more happier, society, a much more happier group of people. Talking about collective, mental issues. So, we've all heard about the collective guilt issue faced by Germans after the Holocaust and after World War II. So I was thinking, about Manipuri society. Do you think we have some kind of a collective trauma from militarization? Do we, or, and also from poverty, also from marginalization? Do you think, not just individual mental health, but also how our collective mental health is also, can also be bad? I mean, or can also be an issue which we all need to figure out, and not just one individual, but also as a collective community or a society.
Yes, yes. As a collective community, yeah, we have always lived in an area of conflict. There has been like a insurgency on one side, and then the militarization by ASPA on the other side. So we have always lived in fear of what might happen to our loved ones, or near ones. Somebody might be we have always, when growing up, I always had this fear that what if somebody shot my father and left him at the gate, and all these things have always had an impact on us. So like when I went outside and studied also, like I always thought, I always thought about the situation in Manipur, how my family might be affected, without my knowing, and like how I might not be able to meet them actually. So yeah, we have always lived in this constant fear. So we have always have low self-esteem because of this, fear. And then regarding poverty, yeah, we have most of the people of Manipur, they have so low socioeconomic status. So yeah, regarding healthcare and all, we are always deeply we only so mental health is kind of expensive for them, people expensive for them, in the sense that people don't want to invest money to take mental health services. They only think the physical symptoms are important. Our mental illness has always been ignored, like mental health has been ignored, because it is not given the same priority as our physical health, because the public healthcare system has also always been prioritized on a physical illness, and rather mental illness has always been delineated. So
Yeah, thanks so much, Iris, for this session. Just one last question, what is your advice to people who want to take up this field, who want to take up this field as a psychologist or pursue this line? What is your advice and tips to them?
So people who would want to take up psychology, I would advise them only to take up psychology if they have a passion for studying psychology, because it is a very difficult subject, because it deals with the human and mind, and it can be extremely taxing for you if you are not passionate enough. So I would just suggest people to take it up only if you're interested in studying psychology.
Thank you so much, Iris, for joining me. And I had such a fruitful conversation. And, I think judging from the comments which people have written, I think they also learned a lot, and just as much as I did. Thank you for joining me. And I hope that mental health is more accessible to people, and we think about it, how, several factors of our lives, whether, socioeconomic position, the state of our society can actually greatly affect the state of our mental health for all of us. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.